to you about what happened to me. When I was about 11 years old, I got involved with the wrong people, the wrong crowd, and I think it's probably possible that some kids are just attracted to negative things, and that was my case. That was the case for me. I started smoking cannabis at that age and truanting from school. Bad habits all round. I disengaged from any classroom activities at school, wasn't interested at all. My parents at the time, I come from a very loving family, but they were very busy with business, and I'm an only child. So I found it easy to sort of hide, and that was exactly what I did. I didn't want to accept responsibility. I escaped from reality as best as I could. By the age of about 13, 14, I got involved with recreational drugs, ecstasy, cocaine. I took it all to another level and abused myself really quite badly. At the age of 16, I had started cultivating cannabis, and in South London I was answerable to some quite serious people that had just used me, because I was a naive young lad that didn't really know what I was doing, and I was willing to grow cannabis, a little bit for myself and the majority for them. Had no concept of crime, and knew that the police were not my best friends at that time, but I didn't really understand about consequences and stuff like that. Throughout that time, the recreational drugs I was using, I took them to such a far limit, I developed a real bad sense of paranoia, and became very awkward to be around, even for people that were my friends at the time. And at that point, one of my mates said to me, you know, this is how I deal with my paranoia, Dan. You know, smoke some of this stuff, and he offered me heroin. Now, I say this, I don't mean that he introduced me to it in that way, because I actually knew what it was. And because of that part of me that liked bad things, I was more than aware of what I was being introduced to, but I embraced it more than he was offering it to me. I almost snatched it out of his hands. At the age of about 18, I had totally run out of money, had lost sight of any good possibility in my life. I started injecting it to lessen the cost, and by the age of 22, I was then committing crime and became very well known in my local areas and the surrounding areas as well. In fact, I used to have to travel really quite far out and get up early in the morning to go and earn my money. I was committing all sorts of crime, and by the age of about 23, I served my first prison sentence, which I really hoped would be the last one, because I went through a really bad state of withdrawal in that prison, that time of prison, and it wasn't to be. Throughout my life up until last year, I had frequented prison, Hidedown one of them as well. I frequented prison. I came in and out of prison 42 times, and it became an occupational hazard. My life was chaos. To me, it was simplified in the way that all I needed was drugs and money to get the drugs. It was quite simple. All the while, I knew that really I was made for better things. I always had that feeling inside me that this is really not how it's supposed to be, because it was very easy for me to escape momentarily, but in the long run, I was in torment. If I was to be honest with myself, I was really in a bad place. I didn't like the people I was surrounded by. They were quite horrible and dangerous. I really didn't like myself because of the things I was doing to my parents. And the whole way of living was that I used to eventually dread waking up in the morning. Then my mum gave me the telephone number of Paul Days, who's the director of E-Gangs. He introduced himself to me as someone that had been through the Teen Challenge program, And I started thinking, well, if he has been on drugs for 37 years, then I definitely stand a chance. And the devil can make you feel isolated. Because I used to think that no one has taken drugs as severely as I have. Therefore, they're more capable of giving up and I'm not. But that's not the case. When I got into Teen Challenge, I did go through some really, really bad withdrawal symptoms. But I know that that is actually from God. Because he's going to put me in a place where I'm able to comfort and help people that are in the same position.
Yes.
So I give all the glory to God and just me being alive.
Hallelujah. Thank you.